Good evening, everyone. You can see this little swirl off the coast of Florida. That is newly formed Tropical Storm Arthur. Yes, this storm is actually named after me, or it has the same name as me. This name repeats every 6 years in alphabetical order, unless the name would get replaced if a really bad storm hit. Here is where the storm is going to go. It's expected to become a hurricane later, a couple days from now. You can see that little one right there. It's going to become a hurricane possibly on the 3rd of July. What's so odd about this system is it didn't come in from the south. It actually came in from the north. It came in off the coast of North Carolina, moved southward, and there was a possibility that it could become tropical. And I was monitoring it, so was the folks at the National Hurricane Center. They put out an invest when it was off the coast of Georgia, continued drifting southward, and it was fighting dry air and wind shear, so it was a very lopsided system. And the center of circulation was easily being dislocated from the thunderstorm development. Soon the system transitioned from a cold core low, once it went off the coast of North Carolina, to a warm core tropical low once it got off the coast of Florida. And late last night at 11 p.m., it got classified as a tropical depression with the name Tropical Depression 1. Early this afternoon, around 2 p.m., Tropical Depression 1 became classified as Tropical Storm Arthur since winds reached above 39 miles per hour or 34 knots. The winds are now at 50 miles per hour or a little bit above 40 knots, and it's right now moving slowly northwest at 2 miles per hour. It's expected to move north over the next day or so before making a gradual turn toward north and northeast. So it's going to become a hurricane approximately on the 5 p.m. advisory on Thursday. So this is today, this is Wednesday, this is Thursday. So it's going to become a hurricane on Thursday. It might become a hurricane a little bit sooner because of this big flare-up of convection that's now becoming very close to the center of circulation. Center of circulation right now is approximately here. If you go to low latitude winds, you can tell that there is some swerve. You can tell that there's also some strong wind gusts along the coast. Wind gusting close to 30 miles per hour at Daytona Beach. Most of the winds and the rain is confined on the southern side of the circulation. Still, the storm is kind of lopsided right now due to dry air on the north side of the circulation. You can see this outflow boundary from these thunderstorms. That is a sign of dry air. And once the air moistens up on the north side, you will have a fully fledged tropical storm or even hurricane sometime later Wednesday or early Thursday. So I'm going to go right now, I'm going to go to the visible, infrared. This is what I wanted to show you. Look at this. I mean, just look at this big blow up of convection. I mean, this is really impressive. This is very, very impressive. I mean, look at this. Even it is losing some of its northern side flank though, but look at this big blow up. It's actually going to the coldest part. You can see even some gray. That's very, very cold cloud tops. That's about negative 60 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit, Celsius, I mean. And this storm is beginning to have some outflow. You can see the system is beginning to get become outflow dominated. And once the outflow wraps around the system will become encased in moisture and will be able to strengthen. So this is what I wanted to show you, water vapor. This is very important. This will show you where the dry air is. So blue is closer to where you have the most moisture, while once you get to white and even darker, that's less moisture. And you can see the dry air just to the north of the system. That's what I've been talking about. That is why the system is fighting right now. But the sliver of dry air is slowly being enclosed by the outflow. And once this outflow wraps around and closes off that dry air, you're going to be talking about a pretty strong tropical system. So the system is now becoming enveloped in moisture, which is a good sign for the tropical system, but it's bad for people living in the coast. It's bad for people living in coastal areas because it will mean that this storm will come up the coast. The main threat for the New York City area is just going to be rain, and along the coast some battering surf, which will might create some minor coastal flooding, but I'm more concerned about the rip currents and the very high waves, which could pose a threat to any surfers who want to catch some waves from the system. That's going to be pretty dangerous, because there's a possibility that you can have drownings, unfortunately, with these kind of waves. Since we're not going to get really much in terms of weather from this system, other than the surf and a little bit of rain, I'll be very concerned about the rip currents and the very high surf, which could pose a threat to beachgoers and swimmers. Here's a broad picture of the Atlantic. You can see there's a pretty good upper level low forming the middle of the Atlantic. No threat of tropical development from that whatsoever. It's purely a mid-latitude and a high-latitude swirl. It's just a trough, and you can see it's moving towards the north, towards gradually cooler waters. It's already in cool waters, but this storm here is in 29 °C water temperatures, which is very warm. So this is definitely conducive for tropical development. I even spotted 30 °C. So yeah, it's in very warm waters. It's well in the category. It's definitely warm enough to support category 3, 4, even 5 hurricanes. So yeah, it's very warm there. Right now in the rest of the Atlantic, the water temperatures are pretty cool, about 27, 28 °C. I mean, that is warm enough to support tropical storms and hurricanes, but not really. SST, of course, stands for sea surface temperatures. Just to let you know. I'm going to go to models right now. So this is what I'm going to show you. This is what the GFS is forecasting. The GFS is forecasting the storm to move up the coast and just brush the New York City coast with a little bit of rain and maybe some gusty winds. This definitely does not look accurate. I think there's going to be rain backing into the system. Usually when you have a tropical system, usually the heaviest rain is going to be on the western side of the storm. So I think all of this will be rain, a lot of rain for New York City. Even though it's not being shown up on the radar, this is a very inaccurate description of how tropical systems work. This is going to be a hurricane, so you're going to have a lot of precipitation wrapping in on the back side of the system. So this looks more like a snowstorm, not like a tropical system. So you might have a lot of rain in the New York City area. I'm going to forecast 2 to 3 inches of rain for New York City. This is not accurate at all from what it's depicting here. Because where you have the east winds turning north, the coastal front will set up a big band of very heavy rain over New York City, and that could create some flooding. And wind gusts over eastern Long Island could reach 40, maybe 50 miles per hour at strongest. But the main threat from the storm is going to be the surf, and that's about all. I mean, 3 years ago, I'll be going, woohoo, we're going to get a hurricane. No, this storm is going out to sea, and we're not going to get much from it, thankfully. It's going to lose its tropical characteristics shortly after making landfall over Nova Scotia as a hurricane. You see, it's still tropical because it has very warm temperatures above 50 to 60 degrees. So this is where it's going to lose its tropical characteristics. See, it's still enveloped in a warm core. Still enveloped in a warm core. And this is where it goes extratropical. Right here. It's tropical, still tropical. It's subtropical now, transitioning into extratropical. Boom, it becomes extratropical right here. Sunday, Hurricane Arthur will become known as Extratropical Storm Arthur. It could still have a hurricane. It could be an extratropical hurricane. That's what I'm saying. Right here. This is where it's gonna. This is the transition right here. But see, it's still very warm. This is a very warm core. Right now, it has core temperatures of at least 16 degrees Celsius. It's even warmer than when it's going to be off the coast of North Carolina. So this is where it becomes extratropical, right here. This is the transition point. between 6 p.m. Saturday and midnight Sunday will be the transition point into an extratropical storm, or post-tropical. So this is looking at a Y picture. Here comes Arthur. I know, I'm saying my name, repeating my name. It's kind of funny, I know. So, saying this is Arthur right here. Becomes extratropical. And actually, believe it or not, it still is a powerful low pressure system, but cold core as it goes into Greenland. This is unbelievable. And so this could become a snowstorm for Greenland, possibly. Let me see what Greenland is going to happen in Greenland. I mean, yep. So it becomes a part of another system. So this storm is going to definitely going to bring some snow to Greenland. So it loses its tropical characteristics right here. Right when the 5700 disappears, this is where it loses its tropical characteristics. And now it's a cold core low. There even might be snow in parts of the system. I mean, this is a very cold core low. So then it's going to just fizzle out over the cold waters of the Atlantic. So I'm going to go to world. You can see the way the cold air moves over Canada and over parts of Siberia and also the Bering Strait. And I'm going to go to temperatures, and I'm going to show you where there's remaining Arctic sea ice. The remaining Arctic sea ice is mostly concentrated where you have the 32-degree line, right where you have this white line. And you can see it's slowly shrinking as you get more into summer. But so you still have a little bit remaining here. But the big focus point is Antarctica. I mean, look at all this cold weather there. I mean, Antarctica is having record ice growth. This is unbelievable, unprecedented. Never seen before ice growth in Antarctica. I mean, look at this. I'm just going to show you something. I'm going to take you to Cryosphere Today. This is going to show you what's happening in Antarctica and the Arctic. We're definitely having record sea ice growth. Sorry, this is global sea ice. I mean, look at this. Just look at this. This is the record. This was the last record, just to let you know, for ice growth. Now look. Yeah, this is very, very unusual to see this much sea ice in Antarctica. And Arctic sea ice is not much below normal. We're only 1.095 million kilometers below normal. Still, that's substantial, but compared to how much we're above normal in Antarctica, definitely makes a difference. So right now, average global sea ice in terms of where it should be, global sea ice area, average, we're a million kilometers above normal. I mean, the last time we hit above that was in 2008. But we were consistently mostly above average for the last year or so. Almost 2 years now. And the last time this has happened was back in the 90s. I mean, to see consistently that much above normal was back in the early 90s. I mean, this is unusual. This is very unusual. I mean, global temperatures are above normal. I'm not denying global warming. It's just that the weather patterns are changing. Global warming is actually triggering a possible ice age. This could be what is triggering an ice age. How? By changing the wind patterns over Antarctica. And that will lead to more sea ice means more reflection of the sun. And more reflection means colder temperatures. And maybe that's how ice ages begin. This could be something big that researchers have not really picked up on. That changing weather patterns could actually trigger ice ages. So, current global temperatures, global average temperatures, global temps 2014. Sorry. This is where we are right now. Just to let you know. Sorry. June 2014. Wow. Slight drop from last month, but not much, by 0.3 degrees. It must be the third or fourth warmest June on record. Southern Hemisphere. Wow. That's unusual. It's saying it's warmer than normal, yet we're having above our average ice growth. It's kind of unusual. Northern Hemisphere. So right now the entire world is above average. So this is we're definitely having global warming. I mean, if you look at the trend over the last 30 years or so, you're seeing a definite warming trend. I mean, there's no doubt. This website, WRESpencer.org, is saying that global warming is natural. But if you look at the trend starting from 1979 through today, it's gradually warming. And you might think, even from 2003, if you look at the trend, it's warming. You can see that, right? It's definitely corresponding to changes in the Earth's chemistry. First, you have the rising carbon dioxide emissions coming from everywhere. I mean, this is really changing our climate. This is why we're having all these destructive hurricanes, droughts, and even brutally cold winters and changes in the ice in Antarctica and the Arctic. So this is definitely a big factor in that. And just because there hasn't been much warming, see, it's warming then cool, but overall it's warming. You can see this trend going in this direction, going up, 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 up. Unfortunately, the changes that are being done are not enough. I mean, they're saying, oh, let's wait 20 years to build a new nuclear reactor. Oh, we don't want another Fukushima. We don't want another Chernobyl to happen. Okay, then watch millions of people die every year from air pollution. Watch hundreds of thousands of people get displaced every year because of storms. Yeah. Watch hundreds of thousands of, even millions of people die because of diseases, because of changing climate. Every year, 3 million people die from air pollution, from fossil fuels. Yet from nuclear energy, you don't get much of that. I'm sorry for making such a combined video. I'm trying to combine weather and climate and the environment all into one video, hoping that it covers all the issues in one span. Okay, this is all I'm gonna say for today. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.